to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Fan to blow on you.
I'll take it over, Greg.
Yep. Captain.
You know what? I was a kid. Horrible story. Were you a Fantastic Four fan?
Absolutely.
Aquaman?
Not really. I mean, he talked to fish. Big whoop.
Yeah. What was the deal with Aquaman? Hey,
Yeah.
let's get all these salmon in one place.
Let me get that whale over here.
So had Superman, Wonder Woman,
Right?
and who had the Hulk?
Hulk. Okay, are we talking Super Friends?
I don't know. I'm talking about this.
When we were little? Yeah, the cartoons?
Yeah.
Last Saturday.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
And remember the invisible plane?
Yeah, that's that Wonder Woman rode around it.
If you could have any power,
Yeah.
other than to have as many Funyuns as you could have,
Oh boy.
would you have the power of flying? The power of invisibility? Or the power to be regular? At your age. Well, you know, nothing like the peace and quiet in the morning.
Well, it's 10 o'clock. Excuse me.
I'd like invisibility.
I'm flying. Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh, you're flying?
I want to fly.
Oh, you're flying, yeah.
Yeah. Because you don't have to be 1,000 feet in the air. It could be just 5
Like
feet.
1 foot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Go to
Just-
7-Eleven, hit that freaking Slim Jim, go to the
Exactly.
pinball. What would you take? Would you take invisibility?
I'd do the same thing. No, I'd fly.
I'd take
But although that invisible thing is pretty attractive.
for obvious reasons. Hey, Howie, would you take invisibility or just never have any come on the show again? That's your super.
I'm close to both. I don't know. I worry if Mike's gonna be flying and he's
Watch
not gonna
it.
be
Yeah, who's
regular. It's gonna be.
Say. Here's
He
the
just
good news.
said if he's flying and he's
That's-
not
that's a
going to
little
be
bit-
regular.
That's a big pigeon.
It hit me in mid-flight. I'm
I
sorry.
call Mike in the air a seagull. Are you?
I don't know why I come here.
Wow.
Who's got the pet pterodactyl?
Straight from Wall Street. First of all, did I understand that Fed Chair Jerome Powell is in front of Congress today or coming up this week? Is that happening? Because
Yeah.
if you've never read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island, you realize that the Fed Reserve is nothing but a scam.
Yep.
They're gonna give the banks money at zero, or in this case, 7% or 6%. When's the last time you had like a 7% credit card or 7% auto loan? So here's the deal: we're gonna get free money. And by the way, nobody knows who owns the Fed. It's not a federal organization. It's often thought to be owned by the banks that use it. So no, we're gonna print our own money. We're gonna borrow our own money. I mean, it really is. There's a better system here. Don't ask me, but there's a better one. So when Jerome Powell, who's an academic, by the way, goes in front of the Congress, what is the purpose here? Is it tap dancing? What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I call it reading tea leaves. A lot of people do. Why do we have this system? I mean, Churchill has a great quote. He said, democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others. So I wonder, is this just the best we can do?
I thought Churchill said the coldest winter I spent was a summer in San Francisco. Wrong guy? Sorry, that was Mark Twain. You're right, though. And the point is that the U.S. is the least dirty shirt in the hamper when it comes to this. It's just
That's a big part of this. Yeah.
And look, everyone does quantitative easing. Everyone prints their own securities to buy them and make money on them. Every country does. There's what they call a stimulus, but stimulus follows inflation follows stimulus. The problem is, Howie, I blame you. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
The problem is, Howie, you.
Yes.
And that damn hair,
Oh, so good.
Perfect hair of yours.
It's perfect.
you punktrepreneur. You look a little puffy.
Punktpreneur. I like that.
You have a salad. Big Biz Show. See you in a minute.
100 studios in beautiful sunny Southern California on this Halloween 2024, also known as Greg Todorov's birthday. Our executive producer, as always, to everybody out there wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, we appreciate you being along for the ride. Costa standing in for Sully today, of course, Mary Bert Godwin, and the birthday boy. Aside from Halloween, any big plans for the weekend, or just, again, you don't want to remember the birthday, so you're just like, just like a normal day?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
When does that happen, the
Move on.
forgetting of the birthday? Like, when you become
It's
a parent, 30 years old? Like,
pick
what's
the
that?
age.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
When
for
you
me,
get to a point-
it was gray chest hair. I'm like, okay, it's
Gray
over.
chest
See,
hair.
I like to celebrate.
That's a good one.
This crew knows. I'm like, it's March 1st, and I
Gray
celebrate
nose
the whole...
hair, gray ear hair, other areas, gray.
Thanks, Mikey.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Good
the
stuff.
visual.
Good stuff.
All right, joining us as he always does, he is our financial expert. He is our financial analyst. He is the man who kind of tells us how things are going on
With no gray
in
hair.
the finance world. Yeah, zero
gray
hair because he's like 10 years old. Of course, Howie Font with this Sarah on the Big Biz Show. How you doing, buddy? What are the big plans for Halloween tonight in the Big Apple?
Oh, it's a big evening here. There's all sorts of ghouls and goblins and ghosts, and also people wearing costumes.
So will you just go out and hope you get stabbed or mugged, or how does that normally work in New York City?
It does. You see somebody with a bloody knife or a machete or something, you're like, costume? No, it's not quite that bad. But
Costume
no,
or-
Halloween's a fun night in the city.
Awesome. Greg, Greg was just talking about this, the business that Halloween has become. And I think he said it perfectly. It used to be just grab your pillowcase and paint your face up and go out and grab candy. But America, and maybe the world in general, has really grasped this Halloween phenomenon. Do Halloween retailers make a lot of money this time of the year?
Oh yeah, and it's only increasing. I mean, one of the things I have been and want to keep discussing is how yes, there is inflation. The cost of inputs to businesses go up, so they need to raise prices to consumers. But there's also that, maybe if we're raising prices, maybe we give a little more margin to ourselves, kind of thing. And that's happening in a lot of business, including candy. I think we're going to spend almost 10% more than we did last year on Halloween in general.
Wow. Good Lord. And then you talk about like the props, the styrofoam headstones,
The house decor.
Mary brought up a good point. She said, you used to take pile the kids in the car and go drive around and look at Christmas decorations at Christmas time. But now it's, you do the same damn thing for Halloween.
And not Christmas. Halloween costumes are more and more intricate, even at my age and all that, in the city at least. There are several prominent, large, in Manhattan Halloween costumes shops that stay open year round and only make money in these 2 weeks for parties and things like that. And they make enough to keep themselves in business the whole rest of the year. It's pretty insane.
Are you dressing up tonight? I forgot to ask you. You going to a party or something?
Yeah, I will not divulge on air, but yeah, I have a costume.
Okay.
I love the costumes you are.
Attaboy.
Howie Font is our Big Biz Show market analyst. Howie, what the heck's going on with McDonald's? This is a story that's very near and dear to my heart and my stomach, as you can tell.
Yeah, it's really similar to the Halloween thing I was talking about. So, I mean, you have to kind of ask the question: is McDonald's not a cheap place to go, just a convenient place to go? Because we know it is both, but it's more and more becoming just fast and kind of pricey. So in the last decade, their prices, the whole menu has risen 100%. It's gotten worse for some products very recently. There's a lot of news about how expensive Big Macs can be. People paying, I think the highest I've seen is $16 for certain Big Macs in certain places, which is crazy. I mean, I don't know. It's go to a restaurant or not a McDonald's restaurant.
Or make a burger at home.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Is it just McDonald's though? Because it feels like all fast food chains are raising their prices, no?
Yeah, but the difference with McDonald's is they were able to hold prices so low for so long, and that's what they had the reputation for doing. If you go to Sweet Green or Chipotle or something like that, you're not expecting, lower quality food or higher calorie food, or you want something healthier, and so that commands a price premium. Usually, if you're looking for convenience, there's a charge, but historically, because of the scale and because of just how popular it was, McDonald's was able to charge these low prices for cheap, convenient food. And that's just not the case so much anymore.
My son and I were coming back from a camping trip this last Sunday, and one of us in the car may have been severely hungover and asked, "Hey, Dad, can we go to McDonald's?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." So we drove through McDonald's. We both had 2 breakfast sandwiches, I think a couple of hash browns, and 2 large coffees. $58
Wow.
for just that, that type of thing.
If you're getting maybe a hangover remedy in California, why wouldn't you go to Whataburger? I feel like that's
or Mexican food or Taco Bell, but we don't want to. We don't.
McDonald's.
We're not going to digress.
But so Howie, do you think this has something to do with raising minimum wage to where the state did? What was that, a month ago? I think
It was back in spring.
That has to be part of it, right? By definition, McDonald's is not going to eat the cost, especially. I didn't mention this at the top, but they came out with their earnings yesterday, and they exceeded by 100% Wall Street's estimate for the decline in sales year on year, store for store. So it's not a good sign. You have less people coming because prices are higher. You increase wage cost, people's salaries, and that's good for those employees. But it's going to cause a lot fewer customers to come. It's going to cause a lot fewer employees to be employed in the long run. We're seeing the effects of it now.
Howie, when we talk with you again, it's going to be election day 2024. What do you think is going to happen? There's a lot of people that are saying, "Oh, the world's going to end." Chicken Little running around with their head cut off. Other people could care less. Normally, what happens in terms of an election when you talk about the markets and things like that? Do people take a little step back and then just go, "All right, the world didn't end. I'm back into it"?
Yeah, it's an important question. It's a fallacy I think many people walk around with day to day. Keep in mind, we don't live in end times. We live in hard times.
Yes.
People always think we live in end times. And I don't see any scenario where the republic crumbles or anything like that. But I do think the election is on a knife edge. There's new betting data out on Kalshi and Polymarket that suggests now Harris, who had been falling behind, is poised to at least squeak out victories in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. And if she gets all 3 of those states, the election's done. That's 270 exactly. It won't be a blowout win, but that's a win.
It's I don't know. It's going to be so interesting to watch because it always is. It's our democratic backbone in process, but it just seems like so many people this year are the anxiety, the depression, and a lot. And I think
is it more heated than usual? I feel
way more heated. And
the blow up on CNN that just happened, and I don't know. There's just been some. It feels more heated than ever before.
It's real. I think it's real hate. It's not just
which probably comes from fear.
Yeah,
stems from fear.
It's not just we disagree, politically, but I think there's actual vitriol between camps and between candidates.
We all love each other here.
That. We do. When the camera's on. No.
I mean, we bought Greg a used candy gift for his birthday.
For crying out loud.
I think both candidates should be forced to wear Greg's hat, and then
I agree.
Just kind of liven things up a little bit.
That's a great point, Howie. I agree.
Howie, is there normally like an immediate indicator though, as far as the market is concerned, right after an election, let's say Wednesday morning, what the stock market will do or will be business as usual?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's definitely not business as usual. I think a lot of people have priced in the Trump victory. in the market currently, but there's a lot of money on the sides. I was speaking to a VC investor yesterday, and he just said no one wants to put money into this market when in a couple of days we're going to know a lot more about the future of the economy. I don't think the economy goes crazy long term one way or the other, just on one party being elected or the other. But I do think if there's a Trump victory, that'll be a sign of a clear set of policies that's strong enough that we'll see a big blowout. The money that's on the side will now expect there to be tax cuts and things like that, which will then force them to put money in the market, and that putting money in the market will see a big Trump bump in the economy.
Howie, always appreciate it. Stay safe there tonight. Halloween in New York City, and we will talk to you next time. All right, that is our market analyst, Howie Font. He's always with us here on the Big Biz Show. Much more of this show after this. From sunny Southern California, the Lock 100 Studios, it is the large financial program, also known as the Big Biz Show. Glad you guys are along for the ride. I am Costa. The lady in blue, Mary Bert Godwin. That man right there in black, Greg Todorov. And Captain Finance himself, Sully.
I got so much to say. Paul Hickey is the president and CEO of ReShape Lifesciences. The ticker symbol RSLS, and of course, ReShape is in the business of minimally invasive medical devices that will target obesity. Can I ask you this, Mike?
You can ask me anything you want.
Are the 4 food groups little chocolate donuts, gravy, Funyuns, and Baked Bits?
Yeah, pretty much.
You're tearing up.
Yeah.
When was the last time you had a piece of fruit? And by the way,
July 4th.
tots are not.
He remembers the day.
Tots are not fruit.
They aren't.
Does your wife get in your grill about, hey, maybe have a salad, mister?
All the time.
Yeah, or do you just go to buy bigger sizes? Has anyone ever said to you, nice top, bro?
without sleeves? No. She's always afraid that Greenpeace is going to be called to roll me back in the water when we go to the beach. So
You're on a roll.
Yeah.
Which explains the butter on your.
We got them all today.
Wow.
Hey, Paul Hickey's here.
Speaking of.
What's interesting here is you have an FDA-approved lap band system, which people don't. I think there is a renaissance about this. I'm going to bring Paul right up. Paul, first of all, what's interesting here is you guys have cornered the market on this, but is the awareness where you want it to be? Because this is something that's really interesting about. I mean, you've cured the plague of the 20th century, which is obesity.
Yeah, it's awareness. No, not where we want it to be, but it's moving in the right direction. And we've talked before about GLP-1s and the big pharma, it's Ozempic, Wegovy, and how much that's helped bring awareness and more normalcy to treating obesity than normalcy of being obese. So I think there's a huge percent of our population, literally 99%, who qualify for surgery or some medical intervention to help them lose weight, and they just don't do it because they're not aware of the comorbidities associated with obesity, including cancers and other things which are certainly treatable and have the attention that they need to have people take care of themselves when those comorbidities, I'm going through actually recovering from COVID as we speak. Oh, wow. But ultimately, we got a long ways to go, but we're heading in the right direction.
Hey, Paul, is the lap band, is the intention to be in forever, for as long as a person's lifespan? And does it have to change, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's adjustable, it's reversible. The intent of it is to go in and put essentially a zip tie around the top of the stomach that you can increase or decrease with this physician or the office of the surgeon who does the procedure. Put fluid in to tighten the band around the stomach or take fluid out. We have patients. The product's over 20 years old, and people have had it for over a couple of decades. And others have found that they've tolerated it for less time, and they move to the next step of maybe a more invasive procedure, which is gastric sleeve bypass that essentially alter your anatomy, unlike the lap band.
Paul Hickey, the president CEO of ReShape Lifesciences, their ticker symbol, RSLS. Paul, do you see that as people who have the procedure or have the band put in and they start to lose weight, that the mental game also kind of comes in line with them losing weight, where they kind of grasp, I've got the lap band in, I can go to any buffet on earth now. No, I've got to start eating right as well.
Well, to clarify your comment about having fruit on the 4th of July, I don't think Jellos are fruits. Really? I'd like to.
Duly noted.
Well, we think margarita's a fruit, so let's.
Could be. Enough limes, enough margaritas might count as one fruit. But all said, there is an adjustment. The disease is not just essentially your gut or your brain. It's both. There's different types of obesity. So by restricting your intake, your body's going to adjust and figure out that your brain has to adjust its hormone levels. Everything has to come back into a line. And that's something that takes time to do. And it's easy to fall back into weight gain again if you reverse your therapy and choose to essentially release the lap band from the top of your stomach, as I described earlier.
Hey, Paul, let's talk about what Mary has been critical of, the semaglutide, right? There is a huge downside to taking drugs that reduce muscle mass. Let's face it, you've got a $50 billion industry worldwide.
Jeez.
I mean, Mike's idea of a lap band is a belt. Crispin's just a little higher. But my point is, semaglutides are working. Wegovy's working, Saxenda's working. There's long-term effects by this. And it's not teaching anybody to monitor their appetite. It's not teaching anybody better lifestyle choices. But it's taking a pill, so to speak, in this case a shot, and it's making them shrink. That's tough to compete with. Talk about your message.
Yeah, it is tough to compete with, but I go back to what I said earlier. Like there's 99% of the people on the sideline that should be losing weight and should be figuring out how to do that for the length of their lifetime. I think the drawbacks of the positive side of the GLP-1s is they're here to stay. They're helping millions of people, and it's awesome. I think that's good for my industry and other industries. Not so good for hip replacement or cardiovascular issues, other things that will be essentially minimized with the loss of weight by millions of individuals worldwide. But there's accessibility issues, tolerance issues, certain women in childbearing years that can't take these drugs, and you ideally would like to preserve your anatomy as you're younger in your life. And childhood obesity, the young adults, women in childbearing years, elderly who can't, again, tolerate a lot of things, including medications, all sort of fit within sort of our target zone of the ideal patient.
Hey, Greg, you're a fatty, and I know you have trouble trying your shoes. So let me ask you this: Would you consider, if you were a taco shy of a combination plate, would you consider something like this?
100%.
But I like this.
Ever since the Clash going out of business.
That's right. So I think this is an excellent option because you do it one time, and I love that it's adjustable based on how you're doing in your life and how your health is going. And what your weight is like, and it's reversible, it's adjustable, and the shots are just I don't know. I'm not a fan of that idea.
Mike's thinking that, hey, can I come in every Saturday to adjust for Sunday brunch and then come back on Monday? His name is Paul Hickey. The name of the company is ReShape Lifesciences. Paul, we'd love to have you in the studio sometime, pal, because this is a $30 to $50 billion business worldwide. It's not going anywhere. These guys have the market on this thing. RSLS, their stock symbol. Go to ReShapeLifesci.com.
When reading the side effects for something is longer in the commercial than the product,
Right.
I'm out. Yep.
Remember Olestra?
Oh my God.
Oh God. And the Doritos.
I'd throw a couch away. Oh.
You get that rumble.
It's like in the Doritos and
My bad.
the chips.
It was just
I remember
wait.
that.
There was no lead time. It was just like, oh, I gotta go.
I had no idea we had dip.
We're wherever you're watching, wherever you are listening. We always appreciate you being along for the ride. I am Costa. That lady right there in the brown is Mary Burt Godwin. And of course, Sully.
Great episode. We got Kirk Huntsman once again from Vivos Therapeutics, stock symbol VVOS, and of course Vivos.com. Dr. Bahar Esmaili, the Vice President of Clinical Integration. And we're talking about obstructive sleep apnea again. And the reason we're talking about it is because not only it's an interesting company to follow in terms of for Big Biz Show, but we started talking about this, and suddenly the network called up and said, we got 1 million emails coming back on what is this? I bet that happens to you every time.
It really does.
When you start talking about it, say, oh, wait a minute. Because I see the light bulb go off in her right the first time you were on, especially we're talking to a pediatrician, we're talking to a cardiologist.
Yeah.
We have a practicing dentist who now doesn't practice dentistry because she's now an airway architect, as she puts herself.
Right.
Talk about what we're about to see here, because it's pretty exciting.
I am so excited for this next segment. So we have at Vivos an 18,000 square foot training and treatment facility in Denver, Colorado, right at the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. And patients are now discovering that Vivos has something unique and something different. And they're flying in from all around the world to be treated by Dr. Esmaili and other Vivos doctors in our technology. Patients who have not been able to breathe for years, who've been suffering and have really traveled the world over to find solutions. And so we have a patient here, one of our favorite guys. And he's coming to us today from England, where he lives, and he found Bahar online and made his way to Colorado. You put him through treatment, and the rest is history. But we want to hear from him and you today about that.
Yeah, this is a really cool patient. Makes me excited to have him here, Sully, because what Stephen has to share is a common story of average patient. The only difference is he was actively looking for what he found here. Most people don't, so I'm hoping that we can bring that over and just see where his journey started and why he's here.
Let's bring up Stephen McKay. Stephen, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Look, he looks familiar, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
This is the picture. So let me ask you something. First of all, you look like a completely different person. Do you feel like a different person?
I feel so much better, yes. It took me a long time to find the answers I needed, but finally I'm on the right track. So, living the dream.
How did you, first of all, before we get to what the treatment was like, how did you find Vivos? Was this just a matter of conducting due diligence online and taking your symptoms and cross-tabbing with what you could find out there to solve it?
No, I actually had to get the details via some physical therapists that I was working with to try and restore my health. Over the years, I've had a few injuries playing sport, and I've had a lot of problems sleeping and breathing, and so I tried to fix my problems with physical therapy alone, but then I was given Dr. Esmaili's details because she can work with the mouth and the upper airway and different things like that. So she's been able to fast track my progress.
Stephen, love your Italian accent, by the way. Is somebody who suffers and is going down the path with Vivos, and I'm so excited, and I'm sure you're like me, that anytime now the conversation comes up about sleep apnea, I'm grabbing people and saying, no, stop. Vivos.com, Vivos. Let me take you there. How brutal were your night's sleep though before they helped you change, and how tired were you the day after normally?
I had a lot of problems sleeping. Waking up during the night was the biggest problem. Waking up gasping for air.
Yep.
In fact, I almost ended up in the emergency department a few times because it was getting quite serious.
What I want to know. Go ahead. Continue, Stephen.
Not very many doctors knew what was going on, to be completely honest. And I feel like it's a topic that a lot of doctors don't want to really discuss because it's out of their scope of expertise.
So how did it work? How did it start with him?
Well, the fact is, Stephen started with bicuspid extraction, which nobody actually looked at. So they had to remove 2 upper teeth, permanent upper teeth, for orthodontic purposes when he was 10 years old. And by far, his life turned around. As a child, reports go back. And everything's exacerbated when he was 21 years old. one concussion, and his body just completely going backwards.
Yeah.
And for 10 years, nobody's really looking and saying, where did it all start? A dentist got him into a trouble that now is limping along. His breathing got dysfunctional, his sleeping, and his posture. So he goes to all those people to address them in an individual way, in a silo. Nobody has the global picture. And when I looked at him, like I said, that nail in the forehead was there. When you have a crooked nose, you have a crooked spine, you have a crooked pelvis, you have a crooked everything. And you're in a pretzel, for lack of a better term. And we just had to untwist that pretzel, and it doesn't take too long. Because body is pretty smart. Obviously, you guys can see that. He's pretty smart.
And Kirk, this device does that, correct?
Yeah.
Well, the device with the adjunctive therapies that we've developed.
Yeah, really important. It's an important piece of
It's not just, I think if you think about our oral devices as the linchpin that sort of holds everything together. So we can deploy chiropractic, we can deploy oral myofunctional therapy, any number of what we call adjunctive therapies. They all do something good, but it doesn't hold together without the oral appliance. And that's what makes it central to us to have this device.
Because sometimes when you do this, you bring in a cardiologist, or you bring in a chiropractor, or you bring in a pediatrician or a sleep therapist, and so on and so forth, right?
Right, that's right. Yes. And we're the only people that have ever published in major medical journals the ability to resolve sleep apnea. Everybody else is managing this condition.
Right.
So the attempt of CPAP, the intent of it is to manage that condition until you die.
Right.
Here's your Band-Aid.
Here's your Band-Aid until you die. What we're trying to do is deal with the root cause.
Say again?
Same as MAD devices, the traditional MAD options or surgical treatments, they're just meant to keep him in that state till, like you said, that shoe drops.
Yeah, a MAD device is a mandibular advancement device. It's your typical oral appliance. It's not what we do, but that's the typical.
Hey, Stephen, talk about the therapy itself. What was it like? What was the journey like?
Well, I'm not long into it. I think I'm about 6 months in, and it's been wonderful so far, especially making that trip over to Colorado to the Rocky Mountains. There's plenty to do over there, and you know, the folks over there at Vivos are very welcoming, and yeah, I feel like a special guest over there for sure. The journey so far has been very comfortable compared to other experiences I've had with upper airway management. I wouldn't even call it management. I would say it was an attempt to manage it, but my experience over at Vivos has been 5 stars. So
when you put the device in originally, was it as simple as we've been discussing here? You use the device after dinner, you sleep in it overnight, and that's it. And little by little, I mean, after 6 months, you look completely different. I mean, your nose is completely straight, your jaw is straight. I mean, it's easy to see the pictures. I mean, was it painful? Was it inconvenient? Talk about that.
It looks like it could have been painful from the pictures there, but absolutely not. No, for me, I just felt subtle changes, and I definitely felt some weird things going on in my face, and especially around my temples. But it was sporadic, and the thing is, my body just changed whenever it decided it was ready to. And thankfully, the appliance, it was always there to take up the slack if I wanted to go to the gym and, you know, do some exercise or lift weights, or, you know, I definitely didn't lose any progress. It was always in there, pushing that force that I needed for the changes to occur. So,
guys, as your mouth changes during this process, do you change the oral device to where you know?
There's adjustments. It's adjustable. Okay. So as we make changes in the way that the teeth fit together. Sure. It adjusts to accommodate that. Right. What he hasn't said to you yet is he spent a decade of his life. He's only 30. He spent a decade, traveled all around the world, had treatment in South Korea, had treatment here in the United States, searched everywhere.
Including rapid expansion.
Oh, he went through all kinds of traditional things trying to find a solution. It was only when he found Dr. Bahar and Vivos that he was able to find relief. And that's what we love about his story, because it's rare that you find somebody that goes to that lengths at such a young age and then gets the results, and now he's a huge advocate for it.
So after 6 months of treatment.
No, not even that.
But the long story short, his journey's been 6 months long, including coming and seeing you. But long story short is,
Is he? You think he's halfway through? Do you think he's almost?
No,
through?
he's about 100% as far as his breathing establishment. Now we have to just now dial the teeth in to make sure that he retains that position, because when you stand on your feet right here and I see you keep shifting your weight, I'm watching you. Watching you. So you basically, your mouth is kind of like shifting you on one side or another. So that pretzel keeps going backwards if you don't, because your feet and your mouth are two ends of your chain. So finishing the teeth might take a while because the teeth need to hold that position, but our appliance does a great job giving body a reference that he needs to breathe into.
Stephen, thanks so much for your time, pal. We want to follow your journey as you go along there. Best of luck, Stephen. Good stuff. Stephen McKay. Well, I'll tell you, that's what are you happy now? Are you scared? Are you better now?
And I was talking with Kirk during break. There's Stephen, and there's a lot of Stevens out in the world that have finally gotten to the end of the rainbow. But think how many people out there don't even know they have it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then they kind of go, well, what do I do now?
Coming up in a second, Aman Singh, doctor, board certified sleep physician. I'm going to talk about also what's the next step, if there is any, for FDA.
Wherever you are watching, wherever you are listening, we always appreciate you being along for this crazy ride, which we call the Big Biz Show. We're inside the Loft 100 Studios in California. Hope everyone out there is having a great day. Marybird Godwin sitting solo, riding solo with me. I'm Costa, filling in for Sully. Get some stuff done.
Oh, yeah. DTT today.
Oh, and let's say hello to the DTT, please.
Hey.
Hello.
Round of applause.
All right.
Love you.
I was expecting a blam, but all I got was a hello. That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. I said say hello, and no, you.
Hey.
There we go.
Actually, you weren't wrong. I said hello, and you said hello back.
Hi.
In my face. In my face. Joining us right now is the chairman and CEO of BioKey International Inc., and their ticker symbol is BKYI. And of course, we welcome back to the show Mr. Mike DePasquale. Mike, always great to revisit with you. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, and it's good to be back today.
Mike, if you can, and I tell a lot of our guests this, and you know, our audience is always changing. It's always growing. It's always growing bigger. So if you can, maybe take a couple steps back and just give us the overall 30,000-foot view of what BioKey does as far as the industry that you're in.
Great. Thank you. Love to do that. BioKey is a provider of advanced identification and identity and access management solutions, including biometrics. So we really protect the front door for both government agencies and enterprises alike, providing a very strong security methodology for them to identify their employees or also their customers.
Mike, as far as the industry, are there a lot of players in this space, or were you some of the first in your group, some of the first to get into this space, and now you've kicked the can way down the road as far as security is concerned of this nature?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of players in the space because it's such a huge market and market opportunity. However, what differentiates BioKey, and this goes back to what you just said, we've kind of pioneered the biometric, in particular finger biometric solutions and technology many years ago. We've been in this business for almost 30 years.
Wow.
So we have customers that have been using our technology for decades. And in fact, we just made an announcement the day before last where an existing customer of ours who'd been using our technology for quite some time expanded their deployment of our technology, but more importantly, deployed the latest advanced offering that we make available.
Which is what? Can you talk about that?
I can. So this customer has approximately 25 million customers of their own. It's a banking customer. It's an international banking customer. And they have been using our finger identification technology to identify their customers. But typically the customer would approach, let's say, the teller window and would have to provide some form of identification, whether it be a card or they'd have to enter an account number or some other type of identification. And then they would place their finger on the finger scanner and they would get authenticated. Now they're moving to the next generation of that technology where that customer is going to basically approach the teller window, put their finger down on the finger scanner, and we're going to tell them who they are. So they're not going to have any other form of identification, a card, a token, a key, to bring to the bank with them. Basically, they can come and present with their finger. And why is this important? Well, number one, it certainly makes the user experience very, very streamlined and comfortable. More importantly, for the bank, it's a very, very efficient way to increase the customer service by eliminating the wait time.
Right.
And wait time equates to dollars saved and customers served. So this is a win-win for both BioKey, the customer, and the bank itself.
Will the customer also have to show their driver's license or a passport or some sort of form of identification, or is the fingerprint the only form?
Yeah, the fingerprint will be their sole access point to their accounts and any other transactions. And that's because we're talking about accuracy levels now in the 99.9% range with the technology that we provide, and we have been building and maturing for many, many years.
Mike, is that like, there no two zebras have the same stripe pattern? As far as our fingerprint, our little fingerprint, you can't duplicate that? Everyone's is unique to their own person?
Yeah, correct. Even identical twins do not have the same fingerprint.
Wow. So I want to talk about something that could be related or not. It's the term passkey, and I see that frequently, and I know that's a service you provide. So is it an actual key that somebody holds, or is it digital key, or could you explain that concept to me?
Yeah, well, it's actually both. So it can be what we call a soft key, which could be resident on your phone. So it could be a piece of software that's on your device, on your iPhone or your Android phone, or it can be an actual token, a physical device that you plug into a USB port. So it can be either or. But passkeys are really important because they're being widely adopted by the large technology providers, like, for example, Microsoft and Google, Oracle. All the large software and technology providers are basically requiring and mandating multi-factor authentication. And so the passkey is, as I explained, I think a couple of times I've been on the show, the passkey is an authentication methodology based on private key interchange. So it's something that's public. One side of the key is public. The other side is something that you have, as I said, that piece of software on your device or that physical key. And what we are providing is a biometric connection to that passkey. So, for example, where you can't use a phone on the manufacturing floor, in a call center, in certain instances, for example, emergency situations where you can't use a device, you have to be able to identify and authenticate these people. Fundamentally, they can basically put their finger on a finger scanner, show their face, or present their palm, and they can be authenticated.
Wow.
He is the chairman and CEO of BioKey International. Their ticker symbol BKYI. Mike DePasquale with us here. You can find their website, bios-key.com. Mike, always appreciate the time. Obviously, another reason to get you back. We only have about 1 billion more questions.
I have lots more.
About security like this. All right, keep it here. Much more Big Biz after this.